What size TV do you want? Not what size TV do you have. What size TV do you want? You want a 55? Okay, they make a 55. Anybody else? What size TV do you want? What size TV do you want? You get, let's say I gave you $1,000 to go to an appliance store, whatever one you like, H.H. Gregg, Best Buy, whatever it be, Sears, could be something like that. And I said, go buy yourself the nicest TV that you want to buy. Give me some ideas of what size you're talking about for the TV that you would like to buy. 75. So now we're going up a little bit. Okay, did they make a 75? You sure? Yeah. All right. Well, what TV do you know? What sizes do you know? You ever pay attention to any of that?
42.
42. Could be 42. They do. I got a 40 at home now. 42. It used to be like 32 and 42 were the two sizes that you could get. 32 now is pretty much the smallest. You could go a little smaller, but on average, most of them that they start out with for the sale ads are the 32 inch. What are they talking about? Are they talking about the measurement from end to end? Please put the rulers down and leave them down. From top to bottom? What are they measuring when they say it's a 32 inch TV? 32 inches, by the way, is from, on this ruler, right about to about here. 32 inches from the end to right about here. All right? So what are they measuring? End to end? Top to bottom? You think it's length? So like from here to here is a 32 inch TV? That's width. Or it also could be length or width. This is mostly height. And then we got one more measurement you're not thinking about. It's how they measure the TV. What? From corner to corner. If I had a triangle here, and this was 1, 2, 3 sides of it, what would this side be called? Think back to your math stuff. What do they call that angle right here, or this line? Starts with an H. Now horizontal, that's like the horizon. Vertical, it's like up and down like that. This is the hypotenuse. Oh, you might remember that. Yeah. So that's how. Why would they measure the hypotenuse? What's up with the TV? Is it going to be, if it's 32 inches this way, from corner to corner, is it really going to be 32 inches long?
No.
It'll be shorter, right? But it sounds bigger than what it is. If you tell me you're going to buy a 32-inch TV, most of the consumers think that that's, well, 32 inches from here to here. No, it's not. It's going to be less than 32 inches from end to end. Measure your TV at home tonight. Get a tape measure, get a ruler, which brings me to the next thing. Most of y'all can read a tape or a ruler if it falls on a whole number. Like if I told you to read me what this is right here, you could say, what is that right there? 3 inches. Yeah, 3. Well, what happens if I pointed to one of these lines right here? Could you tell me what these lines represent? No, we don't do points. Huh? 3/8. Okay, I hear 3/8. Oh, yeah, now we're going to start using fractions. They make fractions. If you had gone anywhere else in the world, how do they measure stuff anywhere else in the world? Like, what are you going to use back in South America or Latin America or over in Europe? What are they going to use? They're going to use millimeter, metric system, centimeter, decimeter, things that are easily divided by 10, right? So 100 centimeters is like, what, 10 decimeters, something like that? If they divide it by 10 decimeters is 100 centimeters. And then how many millimeters are in a centimeter, do you know? It's also like 10, right? 10. Everything's divided by 10. For some reason, we, and using the British imperial system, that's what this is, we call it the American standard now, but it's a standard system. We like everything divided by numbers of like 4 or 8 or 12, something like that. So that's going to be our fractions of an inch. And you're going to need this to complete the first project, because the first project, you're doing 2 things. You're measuring the length of the pipe, now that you got your 10 practice flares done, but this is going to be 1 1/4 inches. And then the next one goes up by another quarter of an inch. So this is going to be 1.5 inches. And if you take a look, it's about a 1/4 inch bigger than the other one that was 1.25 inches. And as the sizes go down, all right, remember our copper tubes measured outside diameter. As the sizes go down, the lengths go up, which is what you're going to do to make a flare tree. Now, you could use this to measure with. There's other things we could use to measure, like there's a folding rule. There's your circumference rule that I passed out to you just now, right? Your circumference rule right here. You got your folding rule, but sometimes you need to get maybe a longer measurement. Like this will measure 100 feet, 99 and 11 inches. But to get 100 feet, all I got to do is take it and I line up the edge of the line right here with where I got to measure, and it shows with an arrow which way I point, and I can tell you that this is 1 feet 6 inches, 2 feet 6 inches, 2 feet 6 inches, right? I just measured it, and that's a different type of tape. There's also, for precise measuring, for engineering, all right, you're going to go a little bit further than what this ruler could do. It could go down to the 32nds, 64th, 128th of an inch, which is really small. But for that, whether you're measuring the inside, which you use this part of the caliper here, or the outside caliper, all right, this could give you the exact measurement that's a little more specific than your 1/8 of an inch or your 1/16th of an inch scale ruler. All right, and then there's other things we use to measure size, like here I got a piece of sheet metal, and if I wanted to know what the thickness of the metal was, there's a gauge here for me to shove it in, and when I can't shove it in anymore, that means I got to go back up one. All right, so this is number 24 gauge sheet metal. So this is another type of measuring tool I could use. The sheet metal gauge. There's also a wire gauge that measures the wire size. And then there's also other gauges too for drill bits and things. I'm going to pass these around and let you take a look at them. Careful with the calipers. They got some parts that stick out and that are kind of sharp for the internal and the external measurements of the pipes. And then I'm going to hand out another sheet that has this, shows you also what I showed you plus some, right? Plus a little bit more. I've got micrometers there to measure. That's even smaller than a 64th or a 128th of an inch. So read this over. This is going to kind of be my lecture today, and then I'm going to let you do the practice exam. Now look, there's going to be 5 arrows, A, B, C, D, pointing to 5 different lines. Okay, so A, what they want to know for this practice test is that you know that that means 1 1/4 inch. And if you know the ruler, and you remember it, I think a lot of you did it back in the 6th grade, you're in the 10th, 11th, 12th now. It's been a while, but if you remember the ruler, you can also read this, and this is what our lecture is going to be. But we're going to take that 1 inch mark, and we're going to explode it to make it look something like this on a piece of graph paper so that you can practice. And that's really what a lot of it is, just practice reading the fractions of an inch. So that's going to be today's lesson. So read the front and do the back. While you're doing that, I'm going to pass out some other papers to you. You keep all these papers. And I'm also going to pass out some colored pencils because we're going to use some colored pencils to do what we need to do for the graph, okay? So here's the one that's showing you all the different types of measuring instruments. I didn't bring the tape up here because it's pretty straightforward. You don't need your calculator for any of this. You can go ahead and put all the phones away for the next 45 minutes. Should not see any phone. Yeah, up front. Bring that down. Don't break my folding rule. It just unfolds and folds pretty straightforward. But take a look at it, pass it around. Make sure once you get the calipers or the wire gauge or the sheet metal gauge, at the end, trade it up with another table and keep passing it around so everybody kind of gets to take a look at it while you're doing your work. And I'm handing out these papers. This graph paper will be the last paper I hand out for a minute. This video is being recorded. It will be up on YouTube. I have another video. Actually, I have 3, depending on which one turns out the best with the audio, as well as the interruptions or any questions. Student participation depends on which one I'll put up. Okay, so one will definitely be up by the end of close of business day today. So we'll have one up for you. So if you miss it or there's something that you don't get finished today, you can go back online, look it up, and do it up. So I'll give you 2 minutes to read the front and about another 1.5 minutes to do the back. That's about all it takes. Okay, 2 minutes to read, 1.5 minutes to do it in the back. While that's happening, I'm going to set a few things up here. Once you get the calipers or whatever it is down at the end of the table, pass it to the other people at the table. Take a look at it. The caliper's there. Excellent. Let me see who can read the ruler. Those of you that can read the ruler, you'll have a really easy time of this, and you'll be back in the lab in no time. Might even be today. Those of you that are having some difficulty, we might need to do a little remediation on the ruler, and then see how you do after that, if you can work on your own. And then I'll have a test for you, a final test on the ruler measurements when you come back to me on Wednesday. So Wednesday, as you come in, you'll get the word down. That'll be the last word of the day. I'll collect the journals and the vocab log sheets then, and then give you a quick test to see how you're doing on reading the rulers, to separate who's having difficulty and who's not, who we need to do. All right, that's enough time for that. So here's what I need you to do. Regardless where you're at on the one page, I need you to hold the graph paper up here like this. It's called portrait. Sorry, that's landscape. Portrait's like that. Landscape. Landscape. So you have the graph grid, and over from 4 squares on the bottom, count 4 squares over and 4 squares up and put a dot. So it looks like this. If I was going to go like this with your pencil or pen, 1, 2, 3, 4 over, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and put a dot right there like that. All right, that's going to start us off at 0. 4 squares over, 4 squares up. Count them up. Put a dot. Put a dark dot. 4 squares over, 4 squares up. If you don't know what you're doing, look to your neighbor. Although they might not be doing it right. Let me check. Hey, you're not landscape. You're portrait. Turn that paper. No, don't turn it over. There you go. Yep, everybody should be landscape. Landscape. 4 squares over, 4 squares up, put a dot. Everybody has a ruler. Grab the ruler now. You need to use the ruler. Because what you're going to do is you're going to measure an 8-inch line. You're going to kind of darken. It should fall right on one of the grid lines. But you're going to draw an 8-inch line over, and you're going to put another dot at 8 inches. Stop it at 8 inches. So you're going to put an 8-inch line on that graph paper, and then you're going to draw a line to the top of the paper from that dot going perpendicular to it, which means 90 degrees. Should also follow another line on the graph. So all the way to the top, 8-inch line over, and we're going to label this one 1. So this would be like me being at the edge of the ruler here, and that's where you line up the edge of the ruler, right here on your dot. Some of you have an extra line and where it marks 0. I think most of them, though, they've been worn down, so it's just going to be the edge of the ruler. So here's my 8-inch line at the 0 dot. Boom, all the way over, and then bring it about 7.5, 8 inches up, all the way to the top of the paper. And then mark a 1 next to that. That's going to be the 1-inch mark. So we're just going to break the 1 inch into 16 segments, 16 sections, 16 equal parts. But we're going to start off by taking this 8-inch line and dividing it in half. Any questions about this part so far? You should have something that looks like this on the bottom, about 4 squares up. And you should have something about almost to the edge of the paper, going all the way to the top of the paper. All right, and put a 1 next to it, because that's going to be our 1-inch mark, like it is from 0 to 1. Now you see how 0 here? If I was going to move this ruler and measure that, I would bring it down, and I would line my 0 up. I wouldn't line the edge of the ruler. I'd line the 0 up with that mark, because I'd be off by a little bit if I did the edge of the ruler. I'd be off by, it looks like almost an 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16. Now, what's half of 8?
Oh.
Genius! Way to go. 4. 4 inches. I want you to put a dot at 4 inches. So again, put the ruler down so 0 lines up with the first dot you drew. And then at 4 inches, I want you to draw a 4-inch line up. So this will be the biggest line. And I want you to mark, what have I done? I've taken this line and I've bisected into 1/2. So this is the 1/2 here. This would be the second half over here. But look, when the top and the bottom are the same number, what do we call that? 1, a whole number. Yes, some of you got some good math skills in here. That's okay if you don't. We'll work on it a little bit. But yeah, 2, 2, same thing as 1. Well, that's just like, Mr. Williams, you're going to get a pizza with me, okay? And we're going to divide it into half. So that's like if I took this pizza that we ordered and to watch the game, and I eat this half, and you're going to eat this half. Even. So I got 2 halves, makes the whole thing, and we split it evenly. Because that's how we roll, right? Nice and even. But you said, wait a minute, Mr. Stringham. I got a few other people coming over. You're going to like them, though. They're really cool cats. We'll hang out with them. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take it now. I can't eat all the pizza myself. Can't eat all the half myself because we got more people coming. We've got to divide it down. And this here, we're going to use a blue colored pencil for. All right? But we're going to divide the half into half again. So there's 4 for you. There's 3 for you guys. And if they need to be sharpened, go sharpen them up because they were using them earlier. There's 4 for you, and there's 4 for you. Now, we're going to divide it almost like if I gave you guys $1 and I said I want 4 even coins back. What are you going to give me? Going to give me a quarter back, 4 quarters back. Yep. So here, at the, what's half of 4? Half of 4? 2. At the 2-inch mark, draw me a 2-inch line up, and now we've taken it, we've divided this into the first quarter. Hey, if you take a look at 4, you don't need to do. We're going to do every 2 inches, we're going to make a line, a dot, make a line. So 2, 4 is already done because that's our second fourth, but we don't say second fourth because we can reduce it to a half. And then, okay, so 2, 4, what do you think the pattern would be? 2, 4, 6. Man, you guys are slick. You're much better than the first group, but it's an hour later in the morning, so maybe you're awake if they weren't. 3/4, that's going to be my third quarter. So this is like you gave me 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, and if I had 4 quarters, I would have $1. All right? So now, Mr. Williams, we can't eat all this pizza ourselves because you invited more people. Which, hey, man, I'm all happy about. More the merrier. We got plenty of pizza up here. But now we got to divide it into, because you said there's 2 buddies coming, 1 quarter here, 1 quarter here, 1 quarter there, 1 quarter there. Okay, so now we can continue on with the party, continue watching the game. Everybody's going to have a slice of pizza, and we'll be happy. But hey, guess what? 2 people didn't show up. It was me and you. They brought 4 more people, man. So now you got to divide that pizza again. All right? So now, I have another color for you. Oh, and I drew it in green when it was supposed to be blue. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to match this color with you. 3/4 here. Let me match all these colors. 2/4. No. 4/4. No. It's 1. Same thing. All right, so now we go to green. So now I'm going to hand you out a green as we come around. Remember, look at these lines. Hey, take a look on your ruler. The 2 longest line, the longest line between 2 whole numbers, that's like our long line right here. That's the 1/2 inch mark. And then the next longest line between the halves, that's the 1/4 inch mark. You see how they make these lines a little bit longer than the others? That's so you can quickly identify it. Now, your project's going to be graded to the 1/4 inch mark. So you're going to want to grade, you're going to want to cut pieces like 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2 1/4. These are the numbers you're going to use for the first project. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it and we're going to break that pizza down into 8 equal parts. So for this one here, should almost be every inch. So put your ruler back at 0. At the 1 inch mark, should be 4 squares over. Draw a 1 inch line up, should be 4 squares up. 2 you don't need to do. 3. 4 you don't need to do because it's the same thing as 4/8. 4/8, nah, that's the same thing as half. 5, 6, 7. So that'll be my first eighth, my second eighth. Oh no, my second eighth's up there. This will really be my third eighth right here. 1, 3, if that's 4, that's 5/8 right here. Oh, that's 6/8, 7/8 there. And by the time we get to the end of the line again, we are at our 8th eighth. Whole number again. This is how you'll be graded for an ABC. If I say you have to cut it 1.5 inches and you're an eighth off plus or minus, that's going to be okay. You don't get deducted unless you're more than an eighth. And all our pipe is measured in 1/8 of an inch. So for example, this is going to be 3/4 inch pipe right here. Which means if I measured from outside edge for ACR tube into outside edge, the outside edge would be from 0 to 3/4. Boom. The next pipe is 1/8 inch smaller. This is 5/8 inch pipe. What pipes have you used in here for flaring already? Anybody know? What sizes? Half. Yep, we had half at the beginning. Yep, so that was like the 1/2 inch right there. What's another size? Anybody do the real small pipe? You know what size that was? 1/4. Yep, so you use 1/4 inch. Yep, that's how we measure all our pipes. And I have a board that was taken back in the back for the level 2, level 1s that worked in the lab after we got this done. But the board will help you size up the pipe. So if you don't know what size it is, you can just match it up with the size of the pipe on the board, and it'll show you what pipe you need to get. Or if you've already done that pipe, to check it off the list. Now, you're going to have to use the 1/2 inch marks for this next skill. So remember, between two whole numbers, there's one line that's always going to be longer between the whole numbers, right about halfway. Exactly halfway to be exact. So that's going to be your 1/2 inch mark. So at every 1/2 inch mark, I'm going to hand out a red marker. You're going to put a dot. Go ahead and just take those and pass them back. Miss Renier, if you take these back and pass them back. Put your ruler down at the bottom. Yep, pass them back. Put your ruler down at the bottom and make a dot at every 1/2 inch mark. Not the 1, but the 1.5. Not the 2, but the 2.5. And you're going to draw that a 1/2 inch up like so. So it should look something like this, even. Mine's a little sloppy because of the smart board, but then label it up. This is going to be what I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 lines I have. So that's the first 16th. That's the second 16th. Don't need to say that because that's reduced to 1/8. If you can divide the top number and the bottom number by 2, you can keep doing that till you get to the reduced form. So 2/8 divide 2 by 2, that's 1. All right, just keep going to it. So that's 3/16, 4/16, 5/16. You see the pattern here with all these red lines? 1, 3, 5. What's the next one going to be? 7, 8, 9/16. I'm sorry, that's a 16. 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12/16, 13/16, 14/16, 15/16. So now we've really taken that pizza and we divided it from quarters to eighths when we had all those people come over. And then of course they saw a bunch of cars in the driveway. So now we have more people showing up because they don't want to miss out. And that would be like taking this pizza and dividing it into 16 even slices. So it started out with just a party of 1. We invited Mr. Williams over, and then he invited Scarlett, her friends, and we have 4. And then she knows, of course, 10 other people. So by the time we were done, 16 people showed up, and we had to divide that pizza into 16 different sections. So that's how we roll. And we did. And we all had a slice of pizza, even though it was a small slice compared to what I thought I was going to get, a whole half. All right? Then I'm still getting something to eat. We're watching the game. Everybody's having a good time. And we're good to go. So now, using that sheet that you just made, you will now count over, starting at 1, right? I'm going to pass this out, and you're going to have to show And it just takes practice. You're just going to have to show mastery of measuring using this sheet here. And I'll do the first couple with you. There's 3 for you. Sorry. 2, 3. 1 for you. I'm going to take one, pass it down. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 looks like it's pointed to the line that's right in the middle. What line's right in the middle? Well, let's look. There's 2 ways you could do it. You could try and look at the ruler and look at this, or you could count the number of lines over. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines over. Don't count 0 as 1. That's 0. Don't start at 1 with right here, because that's 0. 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First one's ½ inch. You can write it next to the 1, or you can write it where the corners meet and just carry it down. And then look, the next one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines over. Number 2 is 3/4. And then number 3, oh, let me show you a little secret. If I have a 1 here, instead of counting like a bunch of lines this way, I can count 2 lines back. So if I got 1 here and I want to know what this one is 2 lines back, 1, 2. Oh, number 3, problem number 3 is 7/8. Now, once you go past a whole number, like number 4, it's not just going to be that fraction, it's going to be 1 and that fraction. But it's only 2 lines over, so it's 1 and 1, 2 lines. 1, 2 lines. 1 and 1/8 is number 4. I've done more than 10% of the work with you right now. So there's 30 questions. I just gave you 4. So that's more than 10% I did for you. You got the other 88%. Questions? Use the graph paper that you just drew. I have another one here that I'm going to hand out that's a little cleaner. And like I said, they could cut these in half again and make 32 lines. If you look at the caliper, that thing I think goes to the 64th or the 128th. Really, so there's 128 lines between 0 and 1. That's a lot of counting the lines to find that measurement. So this one here has the exploded view and goes all the way down to the 30 seconds. You are to keep all these papers. And that's it for the ruler lesson.